injuries. The only one is Cooper, which we kind of already established where he's at, and then everybody else will be good to go. Probably not quite. I don't know that yet, Adam. We haven't had a chance to talk about that, but I do know this. He's making good progress. As far as when he'll be able to return, I have not decided that yet.
It's been a while since you've been in Chicago. Do you remember that game in 18?
Why would you bring that up? I only wake up in sweats every night thinking about it. No, Chicago's a great football city. They've done a great job. Like I said, I got a ton of respect for Coach Eberflus. Obviously, a lot of familiarity with a lot of coaches on this staff, guys that I've worked with that I know are great coaches. They've got good players, and so it's going to be a really good challenge for us. We got to be ready to go.
Would have been nothing like it.
That was that was a very humbling night. This league is a very humbling league. That was one of the more humbling nights, and they did a great job being able to get after us. Felt like we were playing against 15 guys on defense that night.
What have been your impressions of Caleb Williams so far?
Yeah, I think, I've always watched him, just getting a chance to see him up close, even when he started playing at Oklahoma. So met him a couple times. Great dude. Obviously, all the accolades that come with it are very well earned based on his body of work, his resume. He can beat you in a variety of ways. There's a reason why it was kind of understood that, he would be the number one overall pick, and I think that's been earned and merited. You watch the tape, there's a lot of really good things that you've seen. He's got really good players around him. Obviously, I think Shane does a really good job. So we have to do a great job of being ready to go because Caleb can beat you in a variety of ways.
Over the years, you've had a lot of assistants in this building, and while they all might have different titles, it seems like their tasks list can be super varied and diverse. How do you decide how those roles manifest, and how do they change over the course of the season?
I think, each year is kind of its own entity. I mean, you have specific guys that are responsible for coaching positions or coordinating positions, but ball is ball, and it doesn't really matter. And you know this, Jordan, what people's titles have been. Everybody has the ability to contribute, and I think we want to be able to have that positive peer pressure where there's pushing each other to kind of know and learn, and what's the way that we can kind of push that envelope and ultimately put our players in the right spots to succeed. Whether that's a week to week or evaluating what do they do that's kind of all purpose. So it's something that's ever evolving, and we have had a lot of moving parts, but what I like about it, it's hard to move on from great coaches, but you also get a chance to learn from a lot of new coaches, and so that's what's been fun. But I worked with Richard Hightower, I worked with Chris Morgan, not here, but in Washington, and then obviously Thomas Brown and Shane Waldron, great coaches, and so those guys were instrumental in a lot of good things here, and you can see they've done great stuff, when they've gone elsewhere.
When you are looking to bring in more voices and more teachers, really, what kinds of things do you personally look for? Do you always look for, can they tell me something maybe I don't know, or do you what specific qualities?
I think the first thing is character of the human. Yeah. Because this league is too hard. There's too many different things that bring out challenging circumstances that you need to have people that are made of the right stuff. So it's the character of the human first and foremost, and then it's really the overall competency. I'm certainly intrigued by people that have different backgrounds than maybe what I've been exposed to, but even people that have similar backgrounds, I'm certainly learning from them. But people that stay up to date with what's going on. I mean, you look at even since 2017 when we've gotten here. And the evolution of what the game looks like in the landscape of the league schematically on offense, on defense, even in the kicking game. And so, you can appreciate the people that have the flexibility and the ability to adjust and adapt. And every year seems like it presents new circumstances and events that, you think you've been through it, and then you realize, nope, you haven't been through it. This is new. And when you have people that, have the ability to do that, that's the most important thing.
When you say character of the coach, character of the person, what do you mean by that?
I think when you see, the tough times, are they selfless? Are they, do they believe in the core values and principles that we want to be able to abide by? The humility, are they bringing energy every day? Is there an accountability? Is there a willingness to develop relationships? Do you have that emotional control to demonstrate the mental toughness? And I think a lot of those things that I'm looking for are things that maybe I've lacked or not, done a good job of in previous times. And then when you do a good job of that, you're saying that's what we want it to look like. And I believe you become the company you keep. And that's what we're looking for, players, coaches, and I think we have a lot of people that are made of the right stuff, and certainly that gets revealed in challenging circumstances. And we've had our fair share of that pretty early on in the season, and I like what I've seen so far. And this journey is long, and there's a lot of games, but we're just going to take it a day at a time.
You alluded to this when you were reading the injured statements Fatty this week.
He is, yep. I think he'll be listed as limited, but he's feeling good.
Hey, Coach, you guys had a great win on Sunday. Is there anything that stood out to you, even offensive, defensive side, that you can apply to Sunday's game?
Well, I think there were steps in the right direction. There was a lot of stuff that we can clean up on, but I think, similar to what I was just talking about, I think, the resilience, staying in the fight. There was a lot of reasons based on the ebbs and flows of that game for it not to go our way. San Fran did a great job coming out ready to go, jump out to a 14-0 lead. It was 24-14 late in that game, and so our guys just kept competing. They stayed in the moment. I don't think they ever really pressed, and I think they gave themselves a chance to make the plays when it mattered the most. But there are things that we can't control, some things that went in our favor that we can't control, and so how good of a job can we be consistent and disciplined to be able to apply the principles that allow us to be able to take steps in the right direction and continue to improve as a football team. What I am excited about is we were able to come out healthy, so now we can have a little bit of continuity, and let's see if we can build on that, have a great week of work, and then ultimately let's go cut it loose on Sunday in a challenging road atmosphere.
Sean, the continuity,
I'll get you next, sir.
is that something that you address in meetings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you talk about it, because you tell the truth. I mean, these guys know what's going on, and whatever the circumstances are, Kurt, you have to be able to address it and keep it moving. But to be able to say, hey, you know what, we came out healthy, all right, that's a good thing. And now let's make sure that we use that to our advantage in terms of the intentionality with the work and in the meeting room, our ability to communicate and in the walkthroughs, and then ultimately on the practice field. And then hopefully it shows in that 3-hour window of time that we're allotted on Sunday.
On Monday, you talked about getting off to a faster start. Not that you don't always want to do that, but when you see that early in the season, is there anything you can do on the practice field or in the meeting?
I think it's just you got to play quality football. I don't think there's any magic solution. I think we just have to play better throughout the course of the game. There's moments where we've done it. There was moments when we didn't do it. And again, like you even look at it, whether it's offensively, defensively, I thought we started fast in the kicking game, did a good job, in that phase. But there was things that you say, all right, this has to be better. And there was moments in the game, whether it was offense or defense, that it was better. But we're looking for more complete games relative from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. The fast start, I think, when we've been really good, usually we play consistently well throughout the course of the game. And that's what we're looking to do is just play, cleaner, more consistent, more fundamentally sound. But inevitably, you have to be able to respond to some of those setbacks. But we would like to not put ourselves in the hole like we have.
Couple more, guys.
How close was Xavier Smith to making the roster out of training camp?
Yeah.
It seemed like in preseason, at least from a special teams aspect, he had done some things that put him close.
There's no question, Gary. You always have those kind of fringe conversations, and he was right. He made it really difficult for us. But, things, I think what and a lot of people sometimes don't always know from afar is that, that final 53, man, that's a fluid, adjusting and adapting thing as the season goes. Injuries are an unfortunate part of this business. Changes are inevitable, whether they be good or bad. And what I appreciate about him is he understood that too. And he just kept working. And then to see him capitalize on his opportunity, that wasn't just being ready that week. He had put himself in a position based on his body of work to be ready when the moment presented itself. I think he showed that in the preseason. But to answer your question, really close. And now he's in a position where he is our punt returner. And I'm happy for him and want to see him continue to stay humble and put the work in.
For you, in terms of game planning and play calling, to add some stability with the offensive line this week, how much easier does that make things just for you, figuring out what you can and want to do?
It's much better, and you are still figuring things out. We had that last week, there was a lot of things that we learned about guys that were in new spots for the first time, but there were some things that you hopefully can build upon. So to answer your question, I don't know that I would say easier, but you're excited about being able to build upon it. Every single week there's so many challenges from the opponent, and then us continuing to improve, and then okay, what's applicable from last week to the next week. But I am excited. I do think that the best units, whether it's offensively or defensively, there's continuity, there's a rapport that's established, there's kind of an unspoken ability to work in concert and in combination with one another, and that's what I'm hopeful to start to see us be able to develop, whether that's offensive line, Matthew with the receivers, backs getting comfortable with some of the different things that we're doing, and so same thing on defense. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Sean has talked a lot about, building off the continuity and having everyone back from last week. How does that impact your work week, just having the same front, the same receivers?
It's nice. It's been a while since that's been the case. Obviously we got guys behind the scenes trying to get back as fast as they possibly can, but nice to go from 1 week to the next and not have any major changes. So we can kind of try to build off what we did. It takes work to do that. Just because we played a certain way on Sunday doesn't mean it's going to be that way again. We got to go out there and earn it during the week, and we got our mindset to do that.
In your times playing in Detroit, you've heard football town. What are some of your memories playing at Soldier Field?
Yeah, it's an awesome place to play. It's a huge challenge. They do a really nice job of filling out their stadium with hometown fans and make it difficult for the opposing quarterbacks. I feel like every time I go there, I'm playing a really good defense. Doing that again this time. A defense that's really talented, really at all three levels. They've got playmakers, guys that can, affect the game for them in a positive way. So it's a big, big challenge for us, a big work week for us on offense.
Only people who have gone through it probably know how tough a rookie season is for a quarterback. What do you recall about yours, and what would you maybe say to Caleb as he figures this out?
Yeah, mine was tough for sure.
Yeah.
We were, a team in a lot of transition at that point. It's a long time ago, trying to remember back to all of it. But no, there were some big time highs and there were some big time lows. And as far as my play and our team's performance and all that kind of stuff, but it's all a learning curve or a learning, opportunity, a chance to find what you can do, what you can't do. He's obviously immensely talented. He makes plays every single week that you see on TV that blow you away. As a quarterback, I sit there and go, man, that is some incredible stuff. And then I'm sure there's plays he wants back, like all of us. So, he seems like a sharp kid, obviously really talented. I'm sure he'll figure it out, more and more as he continues to play. And I'm sure he's going to have a great career.
He's talked about kind of what he admires about you and kind of sees you as a role model in a lot of ways. What's it like for you at this stage to have younger quarterbacks like him, and I think Stroud kind of use you as the example?
It's humbling. It's pretty cool to to be thought of in that light. I obviously love playing this game. Play this game for a lot of different reasons. One of them is the respect of the guys that you either play against or play with, and I want to try to get that as much as I possibly can when I play. And I know I respect a bunch of guys that I either play with or play against too. So that's a great part about the NFL, being part of this group of people. But no, I think it's cool. Makes me feel old, but I'll take it.
Did you remember how you started not just understanding, but like navigating the pressure of being in such a Big Ten football city? Such a passionate fan base that you were that you had back then, even in tough times, and then Chicago as well. As a young person growing into adulthood, do you remember what that was like for you?
Yeah, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I know that, right? I was trying to figure it all out, right? Try to be the best player I could be for our team. Try to figure out, being that far away from home, all those kind of things. There's just so many things transitioning in your life at that point. The more you can focus on the things that you can control, the better off you be. And the things that are out of your control, man, you got to try to understand that those things, you can't waste too much energy on that. So it was not all easy for me. There's no question about that. We had plenty of ups and downs, and I leaned on coaches, I leaned on players, family, everybody to help kind of get me through that. That wasn't something that I just shouldered by myself.
You tied Drew Brees, I think you're fifth on fourth quarter comebacks. Does that mean anything to you? And how long is it from Sunday night before you're like, okay, that was great, before you can put it behind you?
Yeah, it's cool. Anytime you're getting mentioned with guys like Drew Brees, who did such amazing things in this league for such a long time, I feel humbled again, just to be in that same breath. So I have a lot of respect for him and who he was as a player. And fourth quarter comebacks are great, man. It means your team can count on you in those moments. They're also not so great, means you're down. So play better in the first three. But it's a funny. Football's a funny game. Sometimes one great quarter can erase 3 bad ones, and so take them whenever you can get them. Tough to go out there and play 4 perfect quarters. So, what was the other question you asked me? I'm sorry.
Kind of how long?
Oh, how quickly after the game? Yeah, I mean, I'm move on pretty quick. Excited about it. Obviously, in the locker room after the game. Get home, see my 4 kids. They could care less. So, I mean, they're excited that we won, but they want to tell me about something else they did, and I move on pretty quickly. I'll, maybe shoot back and think about it and talk about it with some friends or family that night. But Monday morning, I'm in here working on the next team pretty quickly.
A couple more guys. It's only been 3 weeks, but in general around the league, the trend is that passing is down and rushing is up. Is there anything you see that you think is the cause of that?
No, I mean, I think defenses are doing a great job, always have been, but I think they're doing a really good job of getting after the quarterback, harassing them with guys in the in the front 4 in the pocket and making it difficult, and then doing a nice job of covering guys. But I'm sure there's somebody behind a computer that can figure out the analytics behind that better than I can. I'm just worried about trying to go out there and execute for our guys the best I can.
As the leader of the team, how do you make sure that your team, after a great win Sunday, how do you make sure your team uses that momentum into having a great week of practice and being very productive on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a great win because it was in our division and we needed to get it done. There's no question about it. But there was plenty to clean up too, right? I mean, you're down 10 points and 14 points at other points in the game, so there's plenty to look at and have a realistic view to yourself and as a team to go, hey man, this could have been a lot better for us if we had done X, Y, and Z just a little bit better. So. Try to pay attention less to the results and more about the process of how you got to where you were. And like I said, there was some really good stuff in a couple quarters of that game, but we got to find a way to, start a little bit faster and play a little bit more consistent.
Folks seem to settle in, especially as the game went on. When you guys go over a win in film rooms, team meetings, Sean mentioned a couple of things were freeze frame, things like that. Do you ever notice things that maybe he's doing early on, or do you ever send him a clip of anything, or that you say, hey, I liked what you did there?
Yeah, I mean, we're always talking. We're talking at the line of scrimmage, talking in and out of the huddle, all that kind of stuff. Not so much, taking pictures of that kind of stuff or videos or whatever and sending it to each other. Mike LaFleur is a big video guy, sends those out. Sean does it a little bit too, but I'm technologically illiterate, so I don't do that. But no, I'm always trying to communicate, especially with the young guy, trying to just make it simple for him and help him out as best I can.
What kind of challenges does a cornerback like Jalen Johnson present?
I mean, all of them. He's kind of, complete player. He's a big physical player, can play with hands-on, can play off with vision, got really good ball skills, good instincts, does a really nice job playing stuff top down, and he's when he gets chances to make his plays, he's made them, and that's why he has the respect that he has, from me and a lot of people across the league. So, appreciate it.